Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Kingsgrove Sports Centre's Top 10 Bats for the cricket season 2023-2024. So we've gone through obviously what we put together, what we think is going to be our top 10 list for the season. It's one of our more heavily requested videos, so we're really excited to put together what we think is going to be a really nice list of bats. Obviously consulted with a few of the staff, seeing what we think are going to be some of the better bats that we've sold throughout the season so far. You're looking at a few factors that you look in terms of the value for money and the price, which is going to be pretty important. Then of course the most important part, which is going to be the performance off the mallet, how good they ping and how many runs you can hopefully score out in the middle. So of course these lists is what we think. Of course there's going to be a few bats that you guys might like to suggest for our top 10 list, so feel free to leave a comment down below. Without further ado, let's get into it. Our top 10 bats for cricket season 2023-2024. Alright, first up at number 10 is the Gray-Nicolls Vapour 500. So starting off with something really good value for money at that lower end of the price range, but something that's going to be, especially with the price of Willow and how expensive bats are these days, this has been a really super pick for us this season. So the Vapour 500, it is down in that lower end of the Willow range, as I said, but what you're going to get off this is really good performance for the price that you are paying. So they finished off with the grain face sleeve, just to make that clean look of the Willow look a little bit nicer. Of course, they're covering up what the timber looks like, but it gives it a really nice clean look on shelf. But the performance and the power on these has actually been superb. So they've actually got a nice high to kind of mid profile, but what they've done is packed in a lot of Willow into the hitting zone, which makes, even though the weights might be around the 2.9 to 2.10 mark, sometimes you get, of course, a nice light one. With that slightly higher middle, they make the balance and pick up really nice in the hands. They're paired up with the Gray-Nicolls traction grip, with the traditional semi-oval handle that Gray-Nicolls have, and of course a nice pretty detailed blue with the royal blue sticker at the back. So they show up really nicely, one that we've been really happy with this season. I'm sure Gray-Nicolls definitely are as well. So a super value pick to start our top 10 list, the Gray-Nicolls Vapour 500. Next up at number 9, one that plenty of our staff have made sure we've included this into our top 10 list, and we've gone and done that. We're really happy with how these have come through. It's the Kingsport Epic. It's a model that we've had in our range for a few seasons, and again towards that more entry-level price range, making sure that people are going to have a good value for money option for a good quality match bat. Any level of cricket that you're playing, the performance on these has been outstanding. You are looking, of course, at that entry level in terms of the Willow, which means you might not get the most perfectly looking grain. You might get a few knots and blemishes, a bit of redwood. What we've been really happy more than anything with these is the ping and the performance that they've delivered. So you're looking at a really nice big style mid to low profile. So it's good for those attacking batters that like to have a lot of power in that lower third of the blade. Of course, if you're playing a lot of short format cricket, which a lot of people are doing these days, but of course across all types of formats, whether it's long or short, the value and the performance on these has been exceptional. At only $275, they're going to be one of the cheaper options that we do have in our range at Kingsgrove Sports, but it's really an option that a lot of people do want to have if you're not looking to spend too much and make sure you're getting a value performance packed bat. The Kingsport Epic is exactly that. A really nice bit of detail in the stickers as well. You've got like a bit of a matte and black stripe pattern through the banner, but into our traditional Epic with the silver reflective pattern. A nice traditional Kingsport down the back there, really nice clean design, and it's paired up with our Kingsport ripple grip at the top, so make sure that bottom hand doesn't turn too much. Good nice feeling handle as well, not too thick, so it makes the overall pickup and balance of these bats nothing super light, but just a good range of weights around that 2.8 to 2.9 mark, something that we've been really happy with this season. So in at number 9, the Kingsport Epic. Alright, next up in our list of top 10 bats, in at number 8 is the DSC Spliit 44. So a really nice model that they've brought through this season. Of course, used by Aussie opener Usman Khawaja. These are a really nice range of bats with a nice sticker detail. They've got that green with the white, and then little bits of detail through the embossing, the pattern in the stickers with the DSC logo. So they show up really nice on shelf. But the best thing about these bats in that mid-range price is the performance that they offered. So a pretty nice mid-profile with a nice tall and long spine, so it means you're going to extend that middle down towards that bottom part of the blade. It means you're going to get really good performance right through from upper end down towards the bottom. A pretty good weight range as well. Most of them are around 2.8. We even got some nice light ones in there as well, so some around the 2.7 for those players that like to have a nice light bat, something they can swing really easily, and these did exactly that. Performance on them and ping has been really good as well. You're looking at the grain, as you can see on this one here, pretty straight, a bit of a blemish up towards that upper end, but of course nothing that's going to affect the performance of the blade. So these have been really happy with how they've come through across the DC range. Have been pretty good bats this season, but yeah, definitely the Spliit 44 was one we had to include in our list. So in at number 8, the DSC Spliit 44. In at number 7, we've got the New Balance WC 1500. So probably, in my opinion, probably one of the best bats we've received from New Balance over the past few seasons. There've been some really, really power-packed bats, plenty of performance on these. Of course, these are at the top-end price range, just under that 1100 mark, but the performance that you get on them is definitely worth the price. So the 1500 range, of course, is a top-end Willow, so you're looking at plenty of grain on these, nice and straight, evenly spaced apart, as you expect out of any top-end English Willow bat. Of course, size-wise and the profile, what you're looking at is pretty close to what the traditional DC shape is, with that mid to low profile into a little bit of a duckbill toe, which makes the bats pick up nice and even, balance really well in the hands, but you're still going to accentuate that middle nice and low, making sure you get plenty of performance right through the blade. Pretty out there design with a bit of detail in the stickers. You got pink, yellow, light blue and red, which matches up into the sticker as well. And you can see down the back, the New Balance, the traditional logo, just with a few different colors in there. But the performance on these, as I said, has been really, really good. Without a bad one really that we've received. So definitely probably one of my favorites that we've received from New Balance over the past few years, and we think you'll love them too. Still a few of these in stock, so the WC range, they've got the 1200 and the 1500, but these models here, yeah, have been really, really world class. Really happy with how these have come through. So in at number 7, the New Balance WC 1500. At number 6 in our list of top 10 bats is the GM Brava 909. So a new entry into the GM range that we've had for this season. The Brava, my personal favorite in their range. What we've got is a bit of a different style of bat that what GM have had in their models for a few years, with a few different specs that we'll run through. So the F2 face profile, which means you've got that bit of a flatter face, but what that allows you to do is maximize the edge and spine heights of the bats. So the size of these bats has been massive, and what that allows it to do is make the performance and the ping exceptional. The 909 is the grade 1 entry-level model for GM, so you're still going to get a pretty clean and straight grain. Not too many blemishes and knots in there, not that that would affect the performance, but they make for some really, really high-end bats. These are fitted with a toe guard down the bottom, and of course with the GM bats all sleeved and ready to go with the GM Now technology, so they're ready to use straight into the nets, or of course into the middle. The detailing the stickers has been really, really nice and classy as well. So the GM, you've got that navy blue, pretty much a majority of the sticker, but a really nice clean and kind of detailed bronze gold outline. Suits the Brava. It's just a pretty classy name for it as well. You can see through the back there as well. But then of course, which is what the most important part of these bats is how full, that you got that dome style profile, which they've now incorporated into all their models across the range, because it's just what people like to see, a really nice full profile bat, something that'll fill the gauge, make sure you're not leaving anything to chance. So you can see a really nice tall spine, but not leaving anything out through the middle part of the blade. It goes into a nice duckbill profile into the toe, makes the bats pick up nice and light, so that you're still going to have a really nice balanced blade. Nothing that's going to feel too heavy, even though you're packing in plenty of Willow into the hitting zone. So in at number 6, the GM Brava 909, really one we're happy with this season. So yeah, definitely one to come in and check out. Next up at number 5, a bat that we're really proud to have in our range, and we're super happy with how these bats have come through. It's the Kingsport Noble Willow Hyper. So of course with these bats, as you can see in the name, and what you probably see out on TV and out in the middle with a few players using it, the Hyper range is a really, really powerful bat. Bright looking stickers, and they match up definitely together. So you're looking at that sticker design, which goes kind of transitions from a pink into a blue into that kind of royal dark purple. The Hyper design has plenty of detailing in the stickers as well. Close up you'll see the embossing finished on the stickers in the front, down on the back as well, and they shot really nicely on shelf. You can definitely see them out in the middle, you won't miss these. But the best part about these bats this season has been the performance that they've offered. Of course, at that mid-range price, you're not looking too expensive as well. Really good value for money around that mid-500s mark. To get a bat that performs this well at that price is, yeah, it's a bit hard to come by these days, but these have been, yeah, exactly that. The profile of the bats, you're looking at a pretty mid to lowish style design, but what that allows you to do is play all the way on the ground. A tall spine with some massive edges means that if you're not hitting it right out of the middle, you're still going to get plenty of power on these. The grip on the Kingsports, as we do with most of our bats, is that ripple design, so it stops that bottom hand from twisting, but they've got a really nice oval shape to them. So the way you hold the bat there makes them pick up really nice, and they feel superb in the hands. One that we've been really happy with how they've come through this season. Still plenty of them in stock as well. We've ordered up, made sure we're going to have bats to last us right through the year, so definitely one to come in and check out. The Kingsport Noble Willow Hyper in at number 5. Next up in at number 4 is the Kookaburra Ghost 4.0. So definitely this model here, far away one of our better sellers of the season. We've sold a crazy amount of them, and there's a few reasons for that. Of course, it is the Ghost range, which everyone's come to love over the past few seasons. It's that really clean white sticker design, but the 4.0 model gives you a good value match bat in at $445, so they're not too expensive, but the performance and the power on these has still been really good for what you do pay. The Ghost range, of course, with the white sticker design, probably Kookaburra's best seller, of course, for a few different reasons. But what you're going to get with the Ghost range, as you do with all Kookaburra bats, is a really nice lightweight model. So with these, of course, for cricketers that like to stay at that lighter end around 2.6, 2.7, there's going to be some good options there. But then even at 2.8, which is probably where most of the weights of these bats are, they're really good performing bats. With a nice mid profile as well. So you get a tall spine, which with the spine tapers off a little bit before the toe, but just means you can accentuate that middle as low down into the toe as much as possible, while still giving yourself a really good value mid profile bat. The handle on these, you've got the Kookaburra Hexa grip, so it balances really nicely in the hands with their semi-oval handle, so they pick up really nicely. So overall, yeah, definitely one to come in and check out. Kookaburra Ghost 4.0 in at number 4. Alright, so we're into our top 3 now. In at number 3 is the SF SD Ranger, so a Shiga Darwin model. The performance on these SF bats this year across the board definitely been our biggest improver in terms of the brands that we've received. So the performance and power on these and the ping has been exceptional. You get a really big style subcontinent bat, so they've got a tall spine, tapers into that duckbill toe just to make sure the balance and pickup is really nice and even. But you can see in that hitting area of the blade, really full, only taking out a little bit of the Willow to make sure it still picks up nicely, but there's plenty of power even if you're not hitting it right out of the middle. This model here at that low 500 price range, so you're going to get yourself a power pack match bat, something that's going to give you really good value for money, and the performance of what you'd see in some top end bats across the board. So really happy with how these have come through. Big edges, big specs, what you want out of a subcontinent style bat, those power hitters. Definitely, yeah, one to come in and check out. These SF bats, the SD Ranger, in at number 3. In at number 2 is the Kookaburra Kahuna Pro Players. So definitely the best bat we've received from Kookaburra this season. The performance and power on these across the board. Of course, you are paying a top end price for a player's bat, but the performance on these has been exceptional. What you get in the Kahuna profile with that traditional green sticker, with that bit of a darker green detail, really nice embossed designing there as well on the front and the back. But the Kahuna profile, what you expect, as it has been the whole time it's been in their range, is a really good quality profile. What that allows you to do is with that slightly higher middle, which you can see has got a really tall spine, but it actually runs right down to the base of the toe. So what that does, it extends the middle, whether you're playing up in that higher area, if you cut shots and you pull shots, but if you like to drive the ball as well, in that lower part of the blade, that spine which runs towards the bottom means it extends the middle of the blade right down towards the bottom, so you're giving good value for shots right around the ground. Still a good size edge. Of course, being a player bat, you're still going to have plenty of Willow in there. Minimal concaving through the hitting zone. With that tall spine, you see a little bit of a concave shape, but there's still plenty of Willow in that hitting zone. So if you're not hitting the ball right out of the middle, of course, being a player bat, you're still going to get good value for your shots. On the Kahuna grips, they've got the Vertex style, which is probably their grippiest design. It means that bottom hand doesn't twist, keeps it really well balanced. The weights of the Kookaburra bats across the board, being a player bat, you're looking around the 2.8 to 2.9 mark as an average. You're not going to probably get too much difference there. They're really consistent. Of course, that's probably one thing with these bats that we've been really happy with is the consistency. They're all 9s and 10s. Performance on them has been exceptional. So definitely still a handful of these around the stores, but definitely one to come in and check out. The Kookaburra Kahuna Pro Players in at number 2. Alright guys, here it is. In at number 1 is our top bat for the cricket season of 2023-2024. It is the Gray-Nicolls Astro HS Special Selection. So a pretty special bat which we've had in our range now for a few years. We've donned it in the Astro model for this season. You've got that Gray-Nicolls bright red at the back, but the part that everyone loves about this bat is the specs and the features which make it so unique. So the big size edges, you're looking over 40 mils, sometimes up around 43, 44 mil. But then a really tall, massive spine. So what that does allow you to do is pack heaps of Willow into the hitting zone, while not making the bats overly heavy as well. So most of these are around 2.8 to 2.9. And what they do use is the Gray-Nicolls Plays Willow. So it might not look amazing. It might have a few knots and blemishes, bit of redwood on the edges. Sometimes you actually do end up with a pretty nice, clean bit of Willow, but the performance on these is second to none. The grip that they use is the Gray-Nicolls traction grip. So it's really grippy, stops that bottom hand from twisting. But the grip is also, the handle thickness is not overly thick, which means that you can save a bit of weight there and pack a bit more into the hitting zone of the blade. These made down in the factory down in Melbourne by Stu and the team down there. We're always really happy with how these come through. We've ordered 100 of these this season and almost pretty much down to our last few now. They're always a really good seller, and they've been exactly the same again this year. So definitely a deserving pick for our number 1 bat of the season, the Gray-Nicolls Astro HS Special Selection. Alright guys, that's our top 10 list for cricket season 2023-2024, all done and dusted. We think we've put together a pretty good list, but if you've got any opinions on what you think should be included, feel free to leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you again next year.